And we are live.
Yes,
Coming
sir.
at you. I don't know. I've always wanted to say that for some reason.
There you go, man. You did it.
Perfect. So yeah, I just want to basically record some raw material here. Have quite the story to go over. So who knows? Coop might even cry.
Probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, but basically I just want to have something to like something for myself to really just like go back to and know like how I felt going through this time. And hey, if I inspire some people along the way, sure, awesome. But really just going to be going over my story and how everything's happened, how everything's played out over the last little bit. Obviously gone through a very unexpected time over the last couple months. So I have my boy Coop here, just going to be asking me some questions, tuning in. We're also just watching the hockey games. We have a couple of bets going on here. So
Don't tell her. Don't tell her girlfriends.
Yeah, stay tuned. We have some big money coming in.
Yeah.
What do you think about those? Coop, what do you think about those?
The bet?
Yeah.
I think it's not looking good, as per usual, for anything we bet on.
Yeah, we haven't won the bet yet.
No. But, no, man, I think this is a really good idea. I mean, because whether you decide to put this up or show a select amount of people or everyone or whatever, there's been a lot of people, guys we've played baseball with and family and friends and people from here, people from the States and everything that are really interested in how you're doing and the process and everything. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I feel like at this point it's really a story to tell, like how everything's happened. And just it's been quite the journey for a lot of people, right? I have a lot of people in my corner rooting for me, and obviously everyone wants to know what's going on, but it's hard to kind of keep everyone in the loop, right? So
that's just it, right? Like you've been doing a good job with like the some Snapchat stories here and there, but like I gotta figure when everyone's asking you, you probably have 50 people asking you every other day, what's going on, and this is a great way to address everyone.
Exactly. So I thought like a nice podcast like this would do the trick, right? Like if you've been following my amazing girlfriend, she's been keeping everyone posted pretty well. Yeah. So if you follow her on Instagram, you probably have a pretty good idea of what's going on. But still, there's still a lot of like minor details that a lot of people don't know about, right? So just like having this podcast it's good for me to look back on in case I forget anything, and also for other people too to know, like, because I know I have like a ton of people supporting me, right? Yeah. So I want to let everyone know like kind of where I'm at and how I'm doing, right? So
yeah. So obviously, well, obvious to us, you had some really good news about a month ago, and then so not so great news. So why don't you kind of dive into like basically how this all happened and the kind of you thought you had this thing beat and it came back, and let's just kind of dive into that, from the start.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. Well, obviously it was a huge surprise to me and my family and my friends.
Yeah.
And my loved ones. Like when I was first diagnosed, like I thought, like honestly, I thought I was invincible. Like it's crazy. Like I was a healthy guy, ex-college baseball player. I had like a super healthy diet at the time I was diagnosed. I was
jacked.
Like I was counting macros.
Yeah.
Like I was going to the gym like 5 or 6 days a week, doing cardio, the whole deal. Yeah. And what ended up happening was I had like a little bit of felt like a muscle pain in my rib cage, like on the side, like kind of like oblique area. And I thought like that's pretty natural for a guy like me, like an athletic guy. I was playing a lot of golf. I was playing softball.
Yeah, we were active that whole week when you were really talking about it. We played golf. Yeah. We went out for like a full 18. We had softball that week, and you were saying that it was like, hurting you really bad, but you were like really talking about it, and I was like, I felt like, oh, this must be something not good, but obviously I just thought it was kind of like a muscle strain or something. But
yeah, well, you never really expect the worst, right? But like
No.
in this situation, that was actually the worst, right? So it's kind of crazy. But I thought, you know what, like probably a muscle strain, like that makes sense. Maybe I just took like a really big swing or something like that, and something went wrong there. But it's probably dragging on for maybe a month and a half, really. And I was even like, I went to a chiropractor for it and everything. And the weird thing is, like, some days it was better than others, right? And the chiropractor was actually giving me relief too. Like, she was actually helping me. I felt better after the sessions, which was good. Like, I thought I was heading in the right direction. I asked her straight up, like, should I go get this checked out, like an x-ray or anything like that? And she didn't think so. Like, she didn't seem to think that it was anything close to what it was diagnosed as, right? So I just kept going to the chiropractor, and everything was good. Until happened on a Monday. I went to the gym, and I felt a bit off. I felt a bit like lightheaded. And afterwards, I actually spiked a fever around like 100, which was a bit odd. That usually doesn't happen after working out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't really think anything of it. But I went to the gym the next day, and same kind of thing happened. I was lightheaded, spiked a fever. I might not have spiked a fever actually the first day. I think I was just lightheaded. I think on the Tuesday I spiked the fever.
Yeah. But it was like the combination of all those things that you were like, okay, I need to kind of take this more seriously potentially, right?
Yeah, and that really freaked me out, that spiking the fever. I knew something was unusual there.
Yeah.
So I actually went to my family doctor the next day. She thought could be like same thing, like strained muscle kind of thing. She thought the fever was a bit off as well too.
Yeah.
So she just did like kind of like a standard chest x-ray, just like a precautionary pretty much, just to make sure. And the next day, I remember getting a call from my family doctor. I actually missed the calls on my voicemail. And obviously, when you get a call like that after a chest x-ray, you kind of expect the worst.
Well,
right?
usually they don't call you unless something's bad.
Exactly.
Right?
So once I got that voicemail, the voicemail sounded something like urgent, right? Like contact us as soon as possible, right? So
yeah.
That was a bit scary to me. That's when I was kind of freaking out a little bit. So I ended up calling my family doctor back, and I set up an appointment for the next day. And I went in the next day to see her, and it was the worst. Like, it showed up. I think it was like a 15 or 16 maybe centimeter tumor in my chest that developed. I don't know how. The doctors don't know how it all starts, but basically what the diagnosis was it was germ cell cancer. Very tough news to hear at the time. Obviously, when you hear that kind of news, you expect the worst. Any kind of cancer, really, you expect the worst. But with germ cell cancers, it's usually it is a form of testicular cancer, and typically it shows up like the first spot it shows up is in the testicles. But what makes it rare in this case is it actually showed up in my chest instead. So it's a bit different of a type, but the form is testicular cancer. But it was just like very, very tough. I still remember like being in the room with my oncologist, like getting the diagnosis with like my family and everything. It was tough. It was very tough. I remember it so clear.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I remember. Man, I remember. I think I was coming back from downtown, and I remember I was at the GO station, And we had a softball game that night. I think it was the same day you found out. And I called you. I was like, hey, man, like, what's up? I don't really want to go home because there's only 2 hours for the game. I was just going to see if you wanted to, like, drive up to the game together or whatever. And you're like, oh, like, I don't know if I can. I was like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, why aren't you going or whatever? And that's when you told me, like, straight up that you'd basically just been diagnosed with cancer.
Man, like, I didn't even know how to tell my friends.
No,
like, it was crazy. Like,
yeah.
I never thought I'd have to send text messages out like that.
Yeah.
You know, and like, just like telling you, like, telling me, like, as soon as I found out, like, I told all my close friends, and like, I called some people too, and it was just like, I was in such like a desperation mode.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, your body just goes into that desperation mode, and like, you don't even know what to do.
Yeah. Well, man, I mean? Like, I can probably speak for all like your close friends. It was just like, I didn't know what to say. You know, I felt like there was nothing I could really tell you at that point in time on the phone that would make much of a difference. You know, it's like definitely hard to process hearing like your best friend tell you he's got cancer at 20. What are you 20? You were 24, 25 at the time. Did you just?
It's actually close to my 25th birthday.
Yeah, so you weren't even. Yeah. You know, that just is not something that crosses your mind. You know.
Well, I wouldn't even know what to say to my best friend either.
No,
like,
exactly right. It's
just, like it's something you don't want to hear.
Yeah,
right?
it's not the phone call I was expecting when I called you.
Yeah, we're expecting to go and hit some dingers.
Yeah, and
help the Barnstormers win a game.
Yeah, which we didn't win enough of this season. But no, I just remember like sitting there after for probably like 10 minutes, not even like driving away because I couldn't process what was going on. At the time, I didn't have all the details, you know, so I can imagine me and like the rest of your buddies and everyone really had just found out initially. It's like, what? You know, you hear about these things, but when it actually affects someone that close to you, you don't, I don't know, you just don't think it's going to happen, man.
Yeah.
You know, not at our age.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't know how to react either.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like everything happens so fast, you know, like you never know. Like, and like a lot of people who reached out to me, they thought like, how's this happening to Free? You know, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is like one of the healthiest dudes I know. Yeah. Right? And I like in these type of scenarios, you really can't do anything, right? And like anything I did, like, wouldn't have helped. You know, like that's kind of one thing I accepted when I was first diagnosed. Like, these are the cards that I was dealt. Yeah. Like, I got to beat this thing. Yeah. Like, no matter what. Like, it's unfortunate, right? Like, I wish it didn't happen to me, but it did, and this is what I'm gonna have to deal with, right? Like, that was kind of like my first thought. Like, being an ex-college athlete, like,
it's the
I
mindset.
just want to get after it as soon as possible. I remember telling my parents, like, I want to be in there right now starting chemo. Like, I want to get after this thing as soon as possible. Yeah. You know, and that's what we did.
Yeah. No, I mean, man, your mindset, like, it's been the best it could possibly be throughout this whole thing. You know, you've been aggressive in the sense that, like you just said, you wanted to get in there and kick this thing's ass right away. And you've had nothing but a positive mindset. And, like, that's all you can do, you know? Having a positive mindset, we've talked about this 100 times since this process has begun, you know? Like, you've been positive because there's no reason to be negative. That will only, it definitely can't help, you know? And there's nothing you can do. Like we talked about even today, you can't go run 20 miles and, like, get better from doing this. It's just trusting the process and staying positive and having that mindset, knowing you're going to beat it, which you have.
Yeah.
You know,
I honestly, I wish I could run 20 miles and beat this thing. Because like, if it came down to work ethic and working out in the gym, I'd have this thing like 100%.
Or anything, nutrition, anything. If there was anything you could really do, I know you would do it. And but that's what sucks, man, is you can't. The only thing you can do really is stay positive, which you have been the entire time.
Yeah. And that's one thing I've really struggled with throughout this process is, there's nothing I can do really to change this or like to better outcomes. You know, like there's nothing really proven. Like no doctors have told me anything that's proven exactly that I can do. It's really just going through the process and trusting the process, which is and trusting the doctors, right? Which is what I've done.
Yeah.
But like I'm a kind of guy who likes to have control, right? I like to be in control of situations.
Yeah.
And it's kind of out of my control, right? Like there's I just have to trust the doctors, and that's what we've done so far, right? And it's been awesome. Like my healthcare in Canada has been awesome at Princess Margaret, and even my surgery at Toronto General. Like everything went smoothly. Like I have no complaints. Like it's been awesome.
Yeah.
But
well, so that brings up a good point. So let's kind of like backtrack a bit and kind of let people know, for not everyone that's sort of super in the loop on it, on like how chemo kind of broke down and your rounds and like what you went through for your first kind of bout with this thing. Yeah.
Actually, let's backtrack a little bit further. So that first week when I found out on the x-ray that I had a tumor in my chest from like actually being diagnosed, that took like a week to figure out what type of cancer, or if it was cancer.
Yeah, which is just brutal, like the anxiety.
That was probably one of the worst weeks I've been through in my life. Like I knew that there was something in my chest that was large, very large, but I didn't know what it was. Right. And like there was a ton of tests I had to do. I had to get a biopsy done, CT scan. I had to get a MRI of my brain. The biopsy was pretty crazy because so what they do is they put a needle through your chest, like through my chest wall, to take a little piece of the tumor, and then they test that to see what kind of cancer it is.
Yeah.
Which was
not pleasant.
Yeah, it's a bit scary. They took like 30 minutes, literally like 30 minutes to find a spot in my chest to go through.
That's because it's so big, man. It's just full of muscle.
Yeah, like because there's so many different arteries, right, in that area there.
Yeah.
So they literally used a needle to go through all of it, and they took like probably like 20 to 30 minutes to find the exact spot.
Yeah.
And like as soon as they found it, they got the sample like in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. Anyways, that's how they ultimately found out what it was. But in that time, I was actually seeing an oncologist at St. Mike's, and they thought, like from what they saw on the CT scan, they were pretty positive that it was like a lymphoma, like Hodgkin's lymphoma, which would have been a complete different route.
Yeah. Right.
So as soon as she told us that, like I was thinking, okay, like obviously first thing you do is you go home and search like that cancer, right?
Yeah.
And like me and my family were looking it up and checking it out and everything, and then the results, I think it took like a weekend. I think it was like a week. That was a long weekend, man. I remember that weekend.
Yeah.
I think I went to Dave & Buster's with Jordan that weekend.
Nice.
But yeah, it was so I think we found out on Monday. She was pretty positive as Hodgkin's lymphoma, but she was like, there's an outside chance that it could be this, which was germ cell. And she said, but usually you'd be very sick, like very sick if you had this. So
and I remember even we talked about this, and I mean, like you talked about earlier, you were playing baseball, you were playing softball, you were playing golf.
Still working out too.
You were working out while this whole massive thing was growing in your chest.
Yeah.
You know? And you didn't feel very sick right up until the last week. And even that was a fever. It wasn't like...
Yeah, that's really why it's hard for me to wrap my head around, right? Like, I thought there'd be a lot more going on, right? I thought there'd be like noticeable side effects, right? Noticeable things going on.
Yeah.
But really just that pain in my chest, maybe a little bit of shortness of breath, but nothing like big.
But considering everything you were doing at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't think this huge mass was in your chest.
Exactly. Like I thought there was no way.
No.
But anyways, so we ended up getting a call from the oncologist, and she said it is germ cell. So it was an outside chance that it was in fact germ cell. So
Yeah.
it ended up being germ cell. So then I got transferred to Princess Margaret, and then I met with another oncologist at Princess Margaret, and then he went over the whole diagnosis and everything like that. But like that week of like not knowing what it was and like all these different possibilities, like there's a possibility that it could have been just like dead tissue too.
Yeah.
Like it could have just been a mass that formed. That's like what they call teratoma. So it's just like dead tissue.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's a bunch of possibilities that it could have been, but like the uncertainty, like not knowing, was just like crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then like there's just like a bunch of different things going on, like a bunch of different tests I had to do, and it was just a crazy week. I feel like I was in Toronto the whole week. Like going back and forth.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I found out the diagnosis. I think it was on like a Thursday or Friday, and they actually admitted me that weekend to start my chemotherapy. So like this is like my type of germ cell cancer is a bit like a more aggressive type, I guess. So they wanted to treat it obviously aggressively as well, right? Yeah. And they wanted to get ahead of it before I got ahead of them, right?
Yeah.
So the plan was to start like right away. So I started like the next day.
Yeah.
Like it's that's what's crazy about it.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with it in a week, and I was starting chemotherapy the next day.
Yeah, and you're right in there.
I didn't even know, like the whole week I was going through chemotherapy, I didn't even know I was getting chemotherapy. Like it didn't even feel like I was.
It hadn't set in.
Yeah, it didn't feel like I had cancer.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like I was getting chemotherapy.
Well, because a week before you didn't even know you did for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And 2 weeks ago you were on the links.
Yeah,
hitting 300 yard drives, which you did. I can attest to that.
I was doing normal activities, normal things, right? Like, so it's kind of like it was just crazy, man. Like to hear this happening and happening so quick, right? Like I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like even like the whole thing too, like going through all the rounds, like now, like looking back on it, like I still can't believe this has even happened, right? So, but anyways, the regimen was it's called VIP. So it's a VIP treatment. So it's 3 powerful chemo drugs that they gave me. Back to back to back. So like an hour for each of them. So my chemo each day was about 3 to 4 hours. And then they obviously give you like pre-medication before to like prevent side effects like nausea and stuff like that. So it really is like 4 to 5 hours a day.
And these bags are big. Yeah. Like the amount of fluid that was going in you is insane. Like I couldn't believe it when I saw how big these bags are, and these are all going into you intravenously, and they're all making you feel like shit, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like these chemicals are killing your good cells as well too, right? It's essentially killing you, but also the cancer, right? So it's good, like saved my life, but like but
it's poison. Yeah,
it's poison essentially. But basically how the regimen would work, I'd be in there Monday to Friday, 5 days, so 4 nights in the hospital. I'd actually stay there. I was admitted as a inpatient, and like obviously they'd observe me and everything and make sure everything was going well. So I would go home on the Friday, and then I would have 2 weeks in between each round. So it'd be 5 days in the hospital, then 2 weeks at home resting, and that was repeated for 4 rounds in total. So 4 rounds of chemotherapy. The whole idea is for the chemotherapy to kill the cancer, like kill every single cancer cell, and then at the end there is some leftover tissue. So basically the whole idea is to get surgery afterwards to remove the dead tissue, because with this type of cancer it doesn't like a mass that size wouldn't essentially disappear.
And that was the thing, right? You knew regardless of how well the chemo worked, it was almost inevitable that you were going to have this surgery. And given that it was in your chest, you knew you were going to have to get opened up pretty big. You know? And like that had to have, well, I know it did. It had to have weighed on you. And like I knew you had that in the back of your mind the entire time, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Made things even
made things
even
tougher
worse.
for sure
Yeah.
too, right? Because I knew I had that at the end,
Yeah.
pretty much regardless. Because with a massive size, it's not going to disappear with chemotherapy. Like the chemo will kill it, but it's going to still be there, right? So
that's a tough thing to know, man, because it's not just like you're done your chemo and then you're good. Like you knew you had to do this too.
Yeah,
But,
and like I've never had a surgery in my life. Like I've never had any kind of, like I haven't even had my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yeah.
You know, so like, and they're telling me how serious this surgery is going to be.
And here you are, like,
And
basically getting open heart surgery.
Yeah, and here I am hooked up to chemotherapy, like hearing this, meeting with the surgeon.
Yeah.
And like I know it's going to happen, right? And it's just like, and I'm honestly, like, to be honest with you guys, like I am like scared of hospitals and I'm scared of surgery.
Yeah.
Like flat out. Like those, like an open heart surgery might be one of my biggest fears.
Yeah. And you basically have.
And I literally just faced it head on.
Yeah. And that's rational. I think anyone like would not want to do that and be dreading that and be anxious about that and nervous.
Yeah, I was anxious for sure, man. Like, definitely thought about it a lot for sure. But basically, what happened? So they can follow the cancer through your blood. So they do like blood samples, and they can see kind of if the cancer is being killed or not, essentially. And I would do blood work like after every single round to see if my numbers were going down.
Yeah.
And they went down like a.
So what'd you start at again? It was like 16 or 2400 or something.
Yeah, so a normal number that like
Everyone walks
like
around with.
a normal male would have is under 10. So my number started at 2600.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So it's a little bit elevated.
Yeah.
But so the number went down like it should have gone down. The cancer was sensitive to the chemotherapy, which is good. So my number ended at after the 4th round, it went down to 12, which is good. And
that was still with knowing you still had a bit of a mass, and
yeah.
But it had shrunken, right, after every time. Along with your numbers kept going down after every round.
Exactly. So the numbers were going down, and the tumor was shrinking.
Yeah.
Which is
exactly what you wanted.
Which is exactly what they're looking for, right? And if you see the X-ray, it's crazy. Like when it was first taken, like it was pretty big. Like you could notice the difference, and after every single round of chemo, it would get smaller.
Yeah.
Like the doctors were saying, this type of tumor is very sensitive to chemotherapy, so like it actually shrinks it pretty well.
Yeah,
I think it started at like 17 or 18 centimeters, and it
took up like half your chest.
Yeah, the end was the end size that they resected in surgery, I think, was 11 or 12 centimeters.
Yeah.
But my girlfriend Victoria, the surgeon actually took a picture of it and like showed her, and she said it was pretty big. Like it looked pretty big.
Yeah.
She said it looked like a heart pretty much.
Jeez. That was after? That's when they took it out?
Yeah, I couldn't look at that though. There's no way.
Yeah, that'd be a lot to see.
Yeah, there's no way I could see that.
But that just shows like you absolutely had to get that out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
But the whole idea is for the chemotherapy to kill it all, right?
Right.
So basically what happened was so like from my last day of chemotherapy to surgery, it was about a month and a half maybe.
Yeah. Or
just over a month. Because obviously you have to recover from the chemotherapy, right? The chemotherapy knocks you down for a little while. So,
and each round, I know you said it was just like after the first round, it took you a day or two. After the second round, it took you 2 or 3 days to feel better. The third took you 5 days to feel like it added up,
Yeah, and it's crazy how it makes you feel like I remember those like Saturdays and Sundays that I got home.
Yeah.
Like you literally just have like the life sucked out of you. Like even just walking around the house, like I'd walk up the stairs and like I would, like my heart rate would be elevated.
Yeah. Well, you just got blasted with poison for 5 days straight.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially,
like,
right?
You just feel like very tired.
Yeah.
I actually didn't puke once.
Yeah, that's so impressive that you did it, actually.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like I've never puked on like a flu or anything like that though either.
Yeah, that's also insane.
Yeah, but like man, like you just feel, I don't know, it's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
You just like, I just remember like laying on the couch, like just sluggish, man.
Yeah. But that's the other thing that people like, may not understand is it's not just the 5 days you're in there, feeling shitty from the chemo. It was the 5 days after it took you to almost feel back to kind of normal. So it wasn't just like that 2.5 weeks you had off. It was almost only just like a week and a half until
exactly.
You could kind of enjoy that week and a half, and then you're right back in.
This is what would happen here, man. This is what happened. So like that first week out of the hospital, you feel like garbage.
Yeah.
And then the second week, you start feeling a bit better. Usually by the second weekend, I'd be feeling good. Like, like almost like a let's party good,
Yeah.
But like you just start feeling good. And then on that Monday, you get blasted again.
Yeah, you're
like,
back
and that's the whole idea of it, right? Like as soon as you just start feeling better, you get blasted again, right?
Yeah.
So you never really felt like throughout that 4 rounds, which took like 3 months maybe, like you never really feel good.
Yeah, which is terrible. Imagine not feeling great for 3 months, man. Yeah. Not only not feeling great, feeling terrible.
Yeah.
For 5 of those days, at least 5, 6 of those days.
Yeah, exactly. And then I had that month to recover, like before surgery, which I started to feel pretty good. I started bouncing back pretty good in that month.
Yeah, we got into the gym a couple times, and
yeah, I was going to the gym. I think like I was running on the treadmill.
Yeah,
still I don't think I lifted much.
You were throwing around 135 on the bench press.
Actually, I did.
You did, yeah.
I was actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a third of what you normally bench, but you were throwing it around pretty.
I remember though, dude, we did bench that one time. And that's the sorest my chest has ever been.
Yeah.
And I remember it felt a bit weird, but like I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to be, that guy.
Yeah.
But like it felt like
you had an excuse if you wanted to.
Man, it was like
I couldn't believe you're actually like getting in a lift.
I remember it was like probably a week, man, or a week and a half that my chest was sore.
Just couldn't even move it.
On 135. I probably could have done the bar. I probably would have been sore.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, but anyways, so what ended up happening between that time and surgery, my blood marker started going up a little bit, which isn't a good thing because that shows that the cancer is coming back. Basically, the chemotherapy is supposed to kill everything, like every cancer cell, right? So, and then the surgery is meant to just remove the dead tissue.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, obviously there's still a bit of active cancer there because it showed up in my blood marker. So I ended up we're still waiting on the surgery. Obviously, like the next step is surgery regardless.
Yeah.
Right. So I ended up doing my surgery, which was very successful actually. My surgeon did a great job. Cleared everything up, took out the main tumor. There's a couple other spots, like small spots on my lung, on both lungs actually. I think there's 2 spots that were active cancer that they removed as well too. But the pathology report was a success. Everything came back negative for cancer that they tested around the area. And they remove the tumor and the other spots with large margins, right? And they test like the outside of the margins, and they were all negative for cancer. So that was really good news. The tumor itself, the large tumor itself, half of it was still active cancer. So half of it was dead, half of it was active cancer. So in this case, sometimes surgery is what does the trick, and surgery is essentially will put you in remission because the tumor is out, and the pathology report was successful. Everything was clear. They took out like my thymus gland, which you don't need. Took out some of my pericardium, which is the sheathing around my heart, and they resected a bit of my lung as well too. But everything came back like that they tested. I think they tested like 12 to 15 areas, and they all came back negative. So that was really good news. After the surgery, my marker ended up going into remission, which was really good news. My number went all the way down to 5, which is a very normal number. So that was right around Christmas time too. I remember.
It all seemed to be coming together.
Yeah, and I remember right around Christmas time too. I was really hoping for a good number because like I really wanted to have a good time with my family. You know, we've been through a lot, and I really wanted to enjoy Christmas and kind of rejoice in that good number, that good news, right?
Yeah.
And like we got the good news. Like it was so basically what happens is the cancer has a half-life after it's removed from your body. So like we're waiting. We did a couple blood tests, and we're waiting for the blood marker to come down to normal. And it essentially did come. It came back to normal, and I was at 5. I think for 2 or 3 weeks it was at 5, and that's really good news. My oncologist was fired up.
Yeah, which also is important because the whole time I know when you were keeping me updated, you were saying your oncologist was great, but he wasn't exactly always stoked even about good news. Like he was very stoic, and he didn't want to get your hopes up and stuff like that. So I know for me, when you told me that he was pretty fired up for this, that meant this was legit. He was actually showing emotion and being like, yeah, man, this is really good.
That was huge news. Like to hear remission from him was huge. Like because he only says it if it's for sure, right? And my marker was in remission. Like it was 5, right? Like, it doesn't get more normal than that. It's 2,600 to start.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt good, man. It felt really good having that. And it is good news. Like everything was good. What ended up happening was, I guess there were a few microscopic cells that they couldn't see in surgery that were still active cancer. They ended up coming back, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which was tough news to hear. I was in remission I had that number at 5 for maybe 3 to 4 weeks. Not even 2 months after surgery. And I get the news that it's like starting to make a comeback, which was very tough to hear, especially after going through 4 rounds of chemotherapy and a very major surgery. Mm-hmm. But same mindset, man. The mindset doesn't change. Yeah. Like if anything, I'm just more angry now. I'm like ready to get after this thing.
Yeah.
A bit different of a process now.
Now you're bringing in the big gun.
Yeah, we're bringing in the big guns now. So basically what happens is they're going to give me a higher dose of chemotherapy to kill off those microscopic cells that they can't see. Yeah. And those small tumors that formed. I think the largest one they saw was 3 centimeters. Yeah.
But you're going to the Michael Jordan of germ cell cancer treatment.
Exactly. And, so me and my family actually decided to take our treatment to Indiana. One of the reasons is you have Coops Riley. This guy is the top dog for germ cell cancer. He's the number 1 guy like in the world. Like patients around the world go see this guy, and he's amazing. We went to see him. He is the man. Like it's incredible. We met with his team like a week ago or so, and he accepted me as a patient, which is amazing. And he was very positive, and everything he told us was awesome. Like he's like, it's how they do the whole process there is just orchestrated like very well. Yeah. Right. So we're very confident with going to Indiana for sure.
I think the biggest thing is just like, we don't need to dive into the Canadian healthcare system, but obviously they do the best they can, given that it's basically free. And now you're going to, literally the best person you can go to, and they can focus all their attention and all their resources on you because they're getting paid to do so. So it's big.
Exactly. And they just have more experience with it too. Yeah. So this is more of a rare type of case, right? With it starting my chest and stuff like that. But like this is the center to be, like if it does start to come back, like for the high dose chemotherapy regimen. Like in Toronto, they do like maybe 1 or 2 a year, right? And these guys in Indiana do like 5 to 10 a month.
Yeah.
So like, just like look at the difference there, right? Like,
they know exactly how to handle it.
and they've been doing this high dose chemotherapy with stem cell support since like 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe even earlier.
Yeah.
So they've been doing it for a long time, and I just feel very confident with. His name's Dr. Einhorn. Look him up on Google. This guy's a legend.
Well, I think it's important for people to know, like, this is the same doctor that Lance Armstrong went to when he had his battle with cancer, and obviously came out on top. So like, that just gives you an idea of how big time and well respected and knowledgeable this doctor is, specifically for germ cell testicular cancer. So it's pretty
no
good,
kidding.
man.
Yeah, like when I went in there, Lance Armstrong's uniform was on the wall. A bunch of other people on the wall too. It's just like,
just gives you an idea of like, this is it. This is your life. So the fact that you're bringing in the best person possible to take care of you now is the only way to do it.
Yeah, and it's also important to like do it in a safe fashion too, right? Like they're gonna be giving me like something like 5 to 10 times more of a dosage than what I was getting before.
Yeah.
Right. And I felt like what I had before, like those bags were pretty big, man. Like I felt like that was pretty intense, right? So like this is gonna be like very tough on my body, and to have like the right people watching me and making sure everything's safe and like everything's going well, I think is important too, right? And I feel comfortable with Indiana. I feel comfortable with the team. I feel comfortable with Dr. Einhorn. It's just like one of those things, like I feel good about it. I feel really good about it.
Yeah.
But
and that means a lot too.
Yeah.
That, like, for your mental state, your mental clarity, and how you're feeling in general too, you gotta have some faith in who's dealing with you.
Yeah.
So the fact that you have confidence in them going into it, and you feel great about this new doctor and the new regimen you're going to be on is paramount.
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, I wouldn't have wanted this to happen. I wouldn't have wanted it to come back. Like, it's not a good scenario, but I still feel good about it. Like, I still feel confident, right? Like, I still feel like I'm going to blast this thing, and I'm gonna win the battle. Like,
for sure,
no matter what, right? And I think I have the right doctors in my corner. Mm-hmm. I think I have the whole time, actually, even Princess Margaret and Toronto in general. Like, everything's been going pretty smoothly. Like it's kind of crazy how everything happens, man. I gotta thank God for that. Like, how everything's like just been orchestrated perfectly. Like, the right doctors I've been put in my life, the right people I've been put in my life during this time. It's just like, it's amazing how everything's come together.
No, you're man, you got a great support system with you. Also, like, especially shout out to Vic, man. You got a good one with you, man. Sleeping over every night.
She's been amazing, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, every single night I was in the hospital, she was sleeping beside me. Like, whether it was the floor, whether it was like a pull-out chair, like, it's like, it's crazy. Like, that girl's been amazing. She's been a lifesaver. Like, she's been awesome throughout this whole process. Like, I love her to death, and like, she's just amazing, like, and like, even going to Indiana, like, she's gonna come to Indiana with me. Thank goodness for her being a casual nurse.
But still, it takes like a special person to put their life on hold. But you're obviously worth that to her. So.
And man, it's got to be tough for her too. You know, like, for her to go through that, like, it's. I can't imagine. Like, I try to put myself in her shoes. Like, like, if it was like opposite, man, that'd be tough. Like,
it's terrible, man.
Like, to see like your loved one go through that, like someone that you love, literally go through that, like, it's tough, right?
She's the best, man.
She's awesome. She really is. And we have some big plans too. Like, I like, we, I don't want to just beat this thing, man. Like I want to beat this thing. I want to like go do things. I want to go see places and like take on challenges and like be an Iron Man. Like I want to get back to that.
Tough Mudder.
I want to beat this thing and be stronger than ever.
You will.
Like I have some big plans, and with Victoria, we want to go to like Thailand and we want to go see some places. Like it's just like it kind of puts things in perspective a little bit. Like when something like this happens, like I was so like caught up in just like making money and like doing what I can to like move out of my house and go buy my own place and like get a career started and like right after school, you know, like I kind of dived right in like as soon as I graduated, and like I was just so consumed by that like work culture, you know, and just like especially my first job with Lifetime, like I was just like I was there all the time, man, and like I haven't traveled, I haven't done some things like that, like and like when something like this happens, like you literally like. Like I just want to go see the world now, man. Like I just want to, you know, like I'm 25 years old. I haven't even bought my first car. Like I haven't done a lot of things, you know. Yeah. And like it's just like it puts things in perspective for sure. Yeah. Like I might just travel for 2 months, man. Like who knows?
Why not, right? I mean, here's the thing, man. I think the silver lining when you kick this thing's ass again is you're gonna have that perspective on life, that second chance on life that few get to have. You know, you're gonna look at things a little differently. You're gonna enjoy that cup of coffee a little bit more than the next guy, and you know, hopefully you'll take that with you for another 7 years or however old you want to be. But hopefully that's the big silver lining in all this after almost a year of crap.
Exactly. But, like I feel like I didn't really take much for advantage like to begin with, but like this really puts things in perspective.
Yeah. You're not going to take much for granted now.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. And you're just like talking with some of my friends, you know, like they see it too, like, and I almost put things in perspective for them a little bit too, and like you know, and like it's like these things can happen, you know, these things can really happen, and that's kind of been a big thing for me. Like you think I would have ever imagined this happening to me?
No.
Like there's like not in a million years. You know, like,
well, like you said earlier, man, you thought you were invincible, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. You know? Like that's literally what I thought. Like I didn't think anything could touch me, you know, and it can happen so quick. You know, it can happen so quick, but it's been a journey, and the battle's not over, but I'm ready to fight, man. I'm ready to fight like ever, and that's one thing I told myself once I started this thing. I'm never gonna give up. No. Like I'm gonna fight like hell, man. I'm gonna take this thing down. You know, and it's just a matter of time, really. Body has to go through a bit more, but hey, if it's gonna save my life, then like I'll do whatever it takes.
Exactly.
All right, so yeah.
Well,
are we winning our bets?
We're winning this one, actually, I think, so far, which would be nice. But man, the great thing is we got our podcast mics now, and when you kick this thing's ass, we can do another one of these, and you know, give the part 2 of the story, and hopefully the last part. Yeah. And it'd be a little happier tone, better tone than this one, but
that's the plan for sure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll definitely post something down the road. I don't know what we're gonna do, but
but I know this means a lot to, I think definitely a good amount of people are gonna listen to this, and it's good for them to hear what's going on in your mindset and what had been going through your mind the last several months, and I think it's cool that you did this, man. So
yeah, for sure. Like I just want it to be super raw. Like I just want it to be like whatever I'm feeling. Also, like just like the biggest thing is like I just want this for my records, you know. Like I just want this kind of for myself to listen to in a couple of years, you know. Yeah. And really just like understand like the perspective, right? And understand like how I was feeling during this time.
Where you were, what your headspace was at this time.
Yeah, exactly. But like if I can post this thing and inspire some people along the way too,
Yeah.
That's great. Like that's something I'm looking to do. So like I'd love to be someone who people
Help
can
someone
reach
else.
out to,
Yeah,
right? Like
that too.
if they're going through something hard or like a tough time, I'd love to be that guy that people call and talk to, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, this has been a really good podcast. I feel pretty good actually
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate you, Coop, hanging out with me here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime. It's what we normally do anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, man.
All right.
On.
Let's win our bets here.
Yeah, let's shut this thing down and hopefully win some money.
Cheers.